Our next guest is somebody you used to have on your show quite a bit, right?
Yeah, we've definitely had Law on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we've had Law on a couple times. He always comes with it.
Yep. With the Kings getting ready to host the Clippers. Man, what a crazy season they're having, huh?
Yeah.
Nice enough to join us. He, of course, covers the Clippers and the NBA for The Athletic. Law Murray, how are you today, Law?
I'm doing well. I'm touching earth a little bit, man. As you can imagine, it's been a little while since I've been outside during the daytime. So, if y'all hear a little bit of trains and stuff, I apologize. But thanks for having me.
Well, thank you, and no need to apologize. Can we ask you here to that point, what is the state of this Clippers team that comes into Goldman Center tonight?
Man, the Clippers done had like 4 seasons already. And you know what I'm saying? Like, they are coming in losing back-to-back games for the first time in 2 months. And that's saying a lot if you watched them play in November, which I know you guys did not, because by the time the Kings visited Intuit Dome, serious levels of belt were applied. I think Kawhi had a point a minute, and it was a 41-point game or margin of victory for the Clippers. So that team, to be honest with you, there's only a couple of guys not with the team anymore from that game. Obviously the big one is James Harden, and Darius Garland won't play. But every other starter is going to be in Golden One Center tonight. So that's Kawhi Leonard. That's John Collins. That's Brook Lopez. That's Chris Dunn. So they've had some bad against 2 teams in the East playing very well in the 76ers and the Cavaliers. The Kings are obviously not that team. Neither one of these teams should be feeling sorry for each other. It's going to be a competitive game, I would imagine.
Yeah, Law, a name that also got moved, and we're going to get into Darius Garland and all that, but, a lot of people were talking about Domantas Sabonis and his value or lack thereof. Zubac and his contract has made him, I guess, even more appealing than Domantas Sabonis. What did you think about that deal? You get back Benedict Mathurin, who is not a project, but the Pacers weren't sure where he was fitting.
And the weirdest pick protection ever.
Yes. In that timeline, what can you tell us about Zubac and his value and the Clippers' decision to move off of him?
Man, I almost look at this like a 3-team trade. I look at James Harden and Ivica Zubac, those guys going out as part of the same package, because not only was James outstanding in his own right and Zoo outstanding in his own right, but it's how they elevated each other. Like, Zoo anchored the defense. James raised the floor for everybody, especially Zoo. And in terms of Ivica Zubac, his value is never going to be higher. Unless the Clippers saw him as a guy who needed to be there to anchor defense and to just be on a value contract for them specifically, it's like, y'all should cash out now, because his numbers will decline without James Harden the rest of this season. And who knows what the heck you look like going forward. Zoo's not the youngest guy. He's turning 29 years old next month. And that's what happened here. So, I mean, they got everything that they would have possibly wanted from an Ivica Zubac trade. They got depth at that position. They got young talent in Ben Mathurin. They got a draft pick. They had several draft picks, because it's not just the pick that everyone's looking at as far as the first rounder that could be a top 10 pick this year. If that's not a top 10 pick this year, it becomes a tradable asset, because that's a 2031 unprotected pick, and they got another first round pick, and they got a second round pick. That is as good as it's ever going to get. And the thing is, Zoo is an easy fit for a lot of teams. Like, you know what he's doing. He is a slightly above average center when it comes to replacement level centers. As talented as Domantas Sabonis is, we've seen Domantas Sabonis and his warts. And the worst thing for Domantas this year is his durability has gone down. This is the first time in Sacramento that he hasn't been able to consistently be on the floor. I think you guys are still waiting for Domantas Sabonis and Keegan Murray to play a game together this season.
Yeah.
That says a lot about where the Kings are in the standings. And I think a lot of teams had to look at it like the last team that made a trade to acquire Sabonis, they got kind of laughed at. So, like, what are you kind of doing here? In terms of acquiring Domantas, a guy who's not a rim protector, not the most comfortable three-point shooter, not a guy who's going to take the bull by the horns offensively, it's a tough deal to move, and Sacramento looks like they might be stuck with it for the time being.
That's Law Murray. And Law, I know we're kind of bearing the lead here as far as James Harden. We've touched on it. But before we get to that, I wanted to ask you about Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis because they're coming here tomorrow night, a big deal here. But I know the Clippers played them when they made their debut. How did they look Wednesday, Schroeder and Keon Ellis in the Cavaliers uniforms?
I think those guys are a big reason why that game was as lopsided as it was. Like Dennis Schroeder, say what you want about the fact that he's now played for 11 NBA teams, but I think it's a case of people wanting Dennis Schroeder, not the other way around. People just wanting to give him away. Like that dude, he plays hard. He has a brand. I understand why Sacramento valued him in free agency. He's a guy that is going to get downhill even at this stage of his career. He's going to pick up 94 feet, and he's going to be able to play with a wide variety of players. And he was playing really hard, man. Like, he was tired. He had to come out the game earlier. That's how hard he was playing. And then you see Keon Ellis. And it's like the first thing that I noticed from Keon Wednesday night, he was fronting Kawhi Leonard. And, I mean, Keon was probably giving up 50 pounds to Kawhi. He's fronting him. He holds him off. He steals Nicholas Batum's entry pass, saves it, and Donovan Mitchell gets a dunk out of that possession. I just feel like for a team that needed to make sure they maintain some level of depth behind the players that they're going to have in James and Donovan Mitchell, I just feel like those guys are really good backup guards to have. You know, Keon is a 3-and-D guard, and Dennis is a experienced, competitive ball handler. As well respected as he is in the NBA, that dude is a legend overseas and in the European basketball scene, the world basketball scene. That stuff matters when you're trying to go into a playoff series and compete. And so I think that was a great pickup for Cleveland, and obviously they got, even better guys doing the way.
Maybe we can get him back, Alan.
Yeah, well, I think that ship has sailed.
I think so.
Yeah, well, talking about burying the lead, so let's unbury it. James Harden, he's taken a lot of flack, specifically this go-round, that famous clip of that, what was it, the play-by-play guy kind of, laying into him. What was your takeaway from the James Harden, I guess, decision to move on as the Clippers were rolling right along here? Were you surprised? What was your thought when James Harden said that he wanted to move on?
It was shocking, specifically for the reason that you outlined, the fact that, like, the Clippers were literally playing the best basketball in the league for a 6-week span of time, like 17-3, I believe it was. And, like, that is a significant portion of the season. It's literally a quarter of the season. And so you're not thinking that James is going to move on. I'm sure the Clippers tried to have the conversations about convincing him to stay, but it made sense for James. And that's the thing with James Harden. He doesn't just say, I want to be traded. He says, I'm going here, you're going to get this player back, and I'm going to get this back, and I'm going to stay out the playing tournament. And that's really what it came down to. As long as the Clippers were playing, like, I even wrote it when the Clippers beat the Kings the way they did in December. How sustainable is this? Because Kawhi is playing at a level that is, like, there's not only enough firepower, he had to do more than he ever has. And the thing with James is he had to do so much with Kawhi out in November. And so I think James, the goal for this season was him not to work as hard, have to do as much as he did the previous year. And that went out the window with how bad the Clippers were and how injured the Clippers were in November, the hole that they were in. As well as you're playing, they're still not in the top 8 in the West. I think James looked at his situation. It's like, I'm not getting paid to be in the play-in tournament. And the Clippers, unlike some previous employers that James Harden has had to go to China and call out, they played ball with James and realized, okay, we're going to get to this point anyway. We might as well get the best thing we can get for him. And that's why Darius Garland is an LA Clipper today.
Hey, Law, we just have one more for you, and we'll let you get back to getting reacquainted with the outside world. As Kings fans, we're trying to figure out, hey, how come nothing really happened? We understand the dynamics of it, but our question here is, was there ever any real traction, as far as you know, on a possible deal that might have sent DeMar to the Clippers?
I'm sure there's people who would have wanted that to happen, and it just look at who the Clippers have now. They have Garland, they have Bennett Mathurin, they have two guys who are 26 years old, under 26 years old in Ben's case, who were top 10 draft picks. Garland, a guy who's been a multi-time All-Star already, and Mathurin, a guy who has to round out the rest of his game, but he at least gets to the free throw line at a high rate. Like, trading for DeMar would have been malpractice on the Clippers end. And I have all the respect in the world for DeMar. He's one of my favorite players and one of my favorite people in the NBA. Always loved Debo, but that is not the direction the Clippers needed to be going, especially the state of the record that they're in. That's why the Kings are where they are now. And I don't want to say that the Kings did nothing. Y'all got DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre went to my high school. That's one of my guys.
Okay.
I'm from Philadelphia. I went to Friends Central School. So I think DeAndre Hunter is a very interesting pickup for Sacramento, especially once Keegan Murray can get back, because now, the next version of the Kings team, they'll move on from these vets at some point. I think can complement each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing for the Kings. They didn't do nothing. They just couldn't do everything as far as getting off of the veteran players that they have. What that means for the rest of the season, who knows? But they're already last in the West. It's not like you're going to get a whole lot better. And we'll see what the lottery shines on them, and we'll see what Scott Perry's plan is going forward. But in terms of DeMar, there's a reason he needed to stay in Sacramento, and specifically for the LA Clippers, it didn't make sense to trade for DeMar at the stage of DeMar's career that he's at.
Thanks for the insight. Enjoy your time in the state capitol. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you soon, Lon. We look forward to your next power rankings. We'll be reading.
Yeah, I wish I was in Sacramento. I'm down here at USC, so enjoy the games, and we'll catch up.
All right. Thank you.
Law.
Take it easy, Law.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Law. I assumed he was here covering the game.